Hey guys, and welcome to Sasquatch Theory. I hope everyone is doing good out there. In today's episode, we have Jane from Colorado who wanted to share her Bigfoot experiences from the Rocky Mountains. This is actually my first Bigfoot Colorado story, believe it or not, so I'm excited to put the state on the map. Colorado is a beautiful state with lots of forested areas. With its abundance of wildlife, cover, and fresh spring water gushing out of the mountains, Colorado is an optimal place for encountering the Sasquatch. I really enjoy listening to Bigfoot encounters from the mountains, so if you have a Bigfoot encounter you would like to share, please contact me at sasquatchtheory@outlook.com. And if you would like to support the channel, you can pick yourself up some new merchandise, and I will leave links in the description down below. Alright guys, let's dive straight into this next Bigfoot account from the state of Colorado. All right, Jane, welcome to Sasquatch Theory. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, and you?
Oh, not too bad. Enjoying the beautiful weather.
Oh, great. I wished it was nice here. It's kind of been rainy, but I need the downtime.
Yeah, absolutely. Jane, you had some experiences in the Rockies of Colorado. If you could, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your Bigfoot experiences from the very beginning and what you found throughout your journey.
All right. From the very beginning, I didn't really know about Bigfoot or Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them. I just first found out about them when I was on my cousin's gigantic ranch up in Oregon, which is located in Central Oregon. He was telling me about an incident that he and his helper had when they were cutting some long posts for a catch pen corral for rounding up horses. And these are old-time type of cowboys that brand their cattle and rope and all that. But they were up there running their chainsaws, and my cousin had these three big, giant kind of bear dogs that weren't afraid of anything, especially not of bears. And they were cutting wood, and they saw the dogs just fly by them. And these dogs normally rode in the back of the truck. They tried jumping in the front of the windows and to get in the truck, and were fighting. Well, this was really highly unusual for my cousin and his helper to see these dogs this way, and they turned off their chainsaws. And they heard this crashing and roaring going on, coming toward them. They knew it wasn't a bear sound or a mountain lion, and they knew it was very heavy and big. And they took off running to the truck, and they reached the door to grab the dogs to pull them out and get them in the back of the truck where they usually ride. And the dogs were biting them. It was just frenzy. It was crazy, but they got in, loaded up, peeled out of there, and poles went everywhere. They didn't have anything fastened. They just wanted to get out of there. Anyway, he's telling me about this, and I guess it was like about a week later, we were gathering cattle up there, and I had this feeling while I was riding off to my right in the forest, it's pretty thick, that something was watching me, and I just couldn't get over it. Then my horse noticed it too, and I was thinking, well, yeah, my horse knows it too. There is something there, and I just knew to avoid that area, and we went on. And after that, I never thought of it for years after that. I mean, I was born and raised in Colorado and went up to my cousin's ranch there in Oregon to help him, but after that, I'd lived in Virginia and Texas, and then I was training cutting horses and breeding them and showing them and stuff. I never thought of Bigfoot But I moved back home to Colorado, back in the early, or it was the late 1900s, 1999. And I just, I've always been an outdoor type person. I love horses and all kinds of livestock and wild animals and stuff. And I always like to, if not ride horses, hike. So what I do these days, I go out with my big mountain dog and we go hiking. But I hadn't thought of Bigfoot all these years. And my son had passed away in 2019. And the next year, when it thawed out up on top of the mountain, I live right below the world's largest flat top mountain, and its elevation is like a little over 11,000 feet high. There are about about 300 lakes up here, glacier lakes on top of Grand Mesa. And anyway, I wanted to go up there the next year because that year when he passed away, we had spread his ashes up there. So the next year when it thawed out, I walked up there, and it's a good hike, mostly uphill, past one lake where the parking lot is, up to the lake where I was heading. I didn't have any bad thoughts. I was by myself, no dogs with me. Walking, had my .357 pistol in a shoulder holster, and was enjoying the day. Just walked past the first lake. I was going uphill. Got this sudden feeling of kind of like a suction or some pressure being drawn out of my ears. And I stopped in my tracks and I thought, what was that? Just seemed odd. And then I heard a snap behind me and a snap to my left. And by that time, I had my hand on the butt of the gun, but I hadn't pulled the pistol out. And then all of a sudden to my right, I heard this tremendous roar. I looked over there. There's nothing. I mean, there's nothing there at all. I've been scared a couple of times, but normally I'm not a type of person that gets scared very easily. But this thing scared me. I mean, I couldn't see it, but it sounded like it was only 20 feet to my right, and there's nothing there. There was nothing behind me, nothing to the left, nothing in front or to the right where that roar came from. I broke down at that moment. I just froze, and I just thought to myself, all I wanted to do was walk up here, have a picnic, eat by my son's ashes, and enjoy the day. And if I don't go by myself right now, I'll never be able to go through here again by myself. So I was crying, and all of a sudden this horrible feeling that I had just lifted off of me. Now, that doesn't make any sense for me to have this flight feeling, but yet I was so scared I was frozen in my tracks, and then all of a sudden just have it lifted like fog or a drapes off of me. It's crazy, but it happened. I went on and I had my picnic there, and walking back, I did wonder about it, but I wasn't afraid. And now I'm beginning to wonder, is it a possibility as to whatever it was could actually read my mind? Because, was I protected by a angelic being, or was this thing that grunted and roared at me, could it read my mind? I don't know. I just know that this feeling was lifted from me. And I'd never had that happen before. But I know it happened. I just don't know why it happened that way and how it could have happened. But as far as before my son passed away, we were out one night looking for at the sky for UFOs, and we heard this loud roar. Where I live, just below Grand Mesa here, you can hear the noon lunch bell go off in the town about 3.5 miles away, pretty clear. But we heard this roar. There was two of the roars. They were so long and loud, and it was coming pretty far away toward Grand Mesa way. There's no way it could have been a human being with that type of long, loud roar. Two of them going on. But I said to my son after the roar scream stopped, I said, well, that wasn't a mountain lion or a bear. And he said, no, Mom, that was a Bigfoot. We went inside. But, you know, I kind of wonder about, do they have the possibility of mind speak? I heard of that, but being able to hear your thoughts. I once asked myself, well, you know, you had that incident up on Grand Mesa, and you know, that's nothing alarming because Grand Mesa is so huge. I mean, I could see an unknown creature like that living and hiding up there, and possibly other things. But this area is such a beautiful place with so much water, so much cover and stuff. You know, why couldn't there be an animal like that? Another time I was in a different area, but still in Colorado. I was in an area, what they call the adobes. And I had asked myself previously, how would I feel if I saw a foot of a big track? Wouldn't that be something? And about a week after that, after I thought that, lo and behold, in this adobe area, there's this track. And whether it was real or not, I don't know. It looks real. I took a picture of it, and I have part of it on a video. But I saw that, and then another time I was driving and looked over, and down in this slope, and this is a very wooded area on this single lane 4-wheel drive road, there's this stump that had been cut off about 4 foot tall. And here's this big rock that had been placed on it, is about 350, 400 pound boulder sitting there. There's no way a machine could have placed that on the rock. But anyway, yeah, that's what I saw. There was another area up on Grand Mesa when I had my dogs. I had a feeling something was watching us as we were coming around a lake. And I decided to take my dogs out of the sun. It was kind of warm, in toward the forest way. And we got right there by the forest edge. And I noticed that there was this great big quakey tree that had been busted in two. It wasn't sawed, it was broken too. And it was about, I would say, about 4.5 inches wide and green. And it was sticking out toward the opening of the forest. I had a bad feeling when I saw that. I just took that as a sign, as saying, oh, look what I did and look what I can do, and don't come on in here. My dogs had a funny feeling too, and we left there immediately. There's lots of things that I've seen as far as structures go, where long time ago I didn't realize that they could be Bigfoot. I just thought it was just probably some campers, and it still could be some campers putting them together, some little structures. But nonetheless, I do believe in Bigfoot. There's things that I mentioned that, I'm still asking questions about it. I don't know how else to find any answers to them. There's maybe some things that we're not supposed to know about or even find out, but I believe in them, and nobody's going to tell me any different, and I don't feel like I have to make anybody believe. But I think if we would be the lesser intelligent of the species if we didn't believe that there are other things out there that are out there. We may not see them every day, but they're there.
Yeah, absolutely. So your friends relayed that story to you from Oregon, and
Yes.
they mentioned that the dogs went nuts when they were cutting wood. Did
Oh, yeah.
did the creature react to that situation? Do you know? Like, did it try to come out and grab the dogs?
Well, my cousin said, and his helper that worked with him on the ranch said that they heard that creature, whatever it was. There might have been more than one, but they said that they could hear crashing and cracking, and it sounded like, footprint or footstep pounding coming toward them. And they said they weren't going to wait, because if those dogs were ready to go, they weren't going to be sitting there asking questions. And at that time, they didn't have guns with them. But after the 2-week period, when they had enough guts and forethought to go back and bring guns, they did. They looked around the area. They didn't see any tracks, but that wasn't unusual. It's pretty thick on the floor of this forest and all, but they knew it wasn't a bear. They knew it wasn't a mountain lion. So they figured it probably had to be what you'd call a Sasquatch.
Yeah, it sounds like it. From my experience, dogs and Sasquatch do not get along. I mean, there are rare cases where the juveniles will play with the dogs, but typically dogs will give away Sasquatch's location when they're watching people, and that tends to make the Sasquatch angry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When I saw the tree that had been busted, and I saw my dog's reaction toward that area too, I figure why sit there and wait around to see what's going to happen. Even though I had a 10 mm on my hip, I'm not going to sit there and wait for a surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned in the next experience that your horse was picking up on something when you had a bad feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and another thing about horses is they can pick up on things very
Oh, yeah.
easily.
Yeah, they've got those long ears like a fox does, and a bat for good hearing, and then they have the eyes that set on the side of their head for good vision on both sides, peripheral vision, and they have big nose holes, so they can smell, odors pretty good. But when an animal tells you something's there, they're not joking like a person can. There's a reason for them letting you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're dead serious. I had some paranormal activity take place in an old area I was living in, and my dog would react to every situation. I'd be wondering, am I going crazy? And I'd look over at my dog, and his eyes are bugging out, and he's looking at the same thing that I'm looking
Oh,
at.
yeah. Yeah, when my son passed away that night here at home, I had my brothers. This was before I got my big mountain dog that I hike with now, but I had my brother's dog uh, with me, and they were close. She was like his therapy dog. She would sleep with him. But anyway, she saw after he had just died, she was up over his bed looking over the top of his body up at the ceiling. So I know she saw probably maybe his spirit going up in the air.
Yeah,
But,
it's
but
possible.
she saw something. and she was barking so loud and was so upset. I know she saw something.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry to hear about your son passing away, and I can see why you were going up into that area to get away and, have a picnic and enjoy nature.
Oh, yeah. He wanted to have his ashes spread up there, and it's Grand Mesa is beautiful. I mean, where I live, we have everything. We have a big orchard, so I could see a Sasquatch coming in and raiding orchard, apple orchards and cherries and pears at night. And then we have farming below us in the valley, and we have what you call Olathe sweet corn, and it's the best sweet corn there is in the nation. And I could see a Bigfoot going in there and sitting down getting fat for the winter. But we have everything here. We have rivers, lakes, deserts, uh, mountains, you name it. And it's all within, you can go north, south, east, or west, 50 miles either way, and you might go through 2 or 3 different type of terrains. It's just fantastic.
Yeah. And Glacier Lake, I'm assuming that was created by the glaciers and they melted in the mountains. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, the whole top of the mountain is flat top. It's
Mm-hmm.
known as the world's largest flat top mountain, and there are glacier lakes. I mean, I heard that Jacques Cousteau had his little submarine up on one of the lakes on Grand Mesa, and they couldn't find a bottom to it. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
It may be. It sounds like there's a lot of fresh water in the area, and a creature like Sasquatch would need that to survive.
Oh yeah, there's water everywhere up here. We have, reservoirs too, and lakes and canals and rivers and everything. It's just in every direction. I mean, where I found saw those tracks, that's right by a reservoir, but it's down lower in the valley. But there's fruit trees all around there. There's lower down in the valley. There's crops and stuff. But you know, I mean, there's plenty of deer and elk up here too. My goodness, it's crazy.
Can you describe the vocalization that you heard? Have you ever found a match to it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a big silverback gorilla that's really mad. It's like a scream, a roar at the same time. Uh, yeah, it was just it made my hair stand up on end. I mean, it really did. It scared me to death. I was just even afraid to move, but I don't know why the feeling went away from me. That's what I can't get over too. Is I was so alarmed, and then it was just gone, just like that. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they sound like primates and like crazy people in the woods.
Well, it made a believer out of me. I know that for one thing.
Yeah, when I was researching an area in the Mark Twain, we got some recordings and it sounded like a gorilla, and then others it sounds like a man being tormented or something, like someone that's lost it.
Oh, gee, yeah, yeah. Well, I know around here we have foxes, and they can make some pretty weird noises, but that roar that me and my son heard, the two roars, yeah, that there's nothing that I've ever seen in a book or on TV that would do something like that. I mean, even a person, you just don't have that kind of lung power.
What do you think the creature was trying to say, and why do you think it did that vocalization when you were there?
That's the other thing I wondered about too, is why me? I was going up there. I wasn't in a sad mood, even though I was going to do something that wasn't really, you know, what I'd say something fond that I'm fond to do. But uh, I don't know. Maybe I was just there at the wrong time. Maybe there was some juvenile that was hidden. You know, I was watching one of your videos the other day where you and your friend were going through this area where all these little saplings were snapped off. And I got to thinking, well, you know, if you're a mama Sasquatch and you lay your baby down to hide like a elk or a deer would do to their babies, what would that baby do? Wouldn't it kind of get a little bored? Maybe it might be at that level where those snaps were. Maybe a baby Sasquatch was just killing time, having something to do.
Yeah, I think so. Did
But
you
as far as my deal walking up through there, I don't know. Like I said, maybe I was just there at the wrong time, and I don't know.
did you happen to have any food on you? You said you were going on a picnic.
Yeah, I had some snack bars, some granola bars, and a Gatorade, and some chips, and that was, I think, about it.
Yeah, it could be possible they smelled the food. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I thought of that too because I know how bears have. I guess their smell. They're able to smell something like 11 times more than a bloodhound. And mountain lions have a pretty good nose on them too. And that's why I brought my pistol. I didn't bring it because I might get the heck scared out of me by something weird that I couldn't see. I just went up there thinking, you know, if I run into somebody like a meth heads or somebody wanting to mess with me, then I, you know, have a way of protecting myself if they want to attack me, or a bear or a mountain lion even. But um, I don't know. Your guess is good as mine.
Yeah. Did you happen to spook any game on your way up there?
I didn't see a thing. That was what was weird too. I didn't even see a squirrel. And usually there's like chipmunks and squirrels going around, you know, doing stuff on the ground, and trees. There's nothing.
Mm-hmm. Is there a lot of
I
elk in
did,
that area, though, typically?
yeah, a lot of elk and deer, especially up on the top where I was heading to. Like I was saying, the trail mostly went uphill, was uphillish.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I was surprised. I didn't realize that Colorado, me being a native here of Colorado, there are, I think it is like 58 uh, mountains that are over 14,000 feet high. So, you know, we have a state that where even Grand Mesa is so huge. There's places where people can't even get to or haven't even gotten to, as well as a lot of the other places where there's 14, you know, thousand elevation high mountains. There's just so much road and mountains up here, and I've heard a lot of Sasquatch encounters here just south of me in the San Juans.
So it's pretty rugged country there.
Oh yeah, yeah. People do come up missing too, especially in the San Juans. Uh, the, the you know that the San Juans are different than where we are here in Grand Mesa. San Juans are just rugged, alpine looking mountains, and they're not too far from here. Whereas Grand Mesa is just one huge mountain that's flat topped. It got the top blew off of it years ago, supposedly, and uh, it's it's still, both areas are just really rugged and remote. It's just that one area is easier to get around than another. And San Juan Mountains, they're pretty rugged, and a lot of people do elk hunting in there. And many times there's people that come up missing. So, who knows
Yeah, that is.
why they come up missing or any of that too. Sometimes I even know one person I grew up with, and she came up missing in those mountains. So
Yeah,
you
that's
just
creepy.
never know. Yeah.
So, do you think it's just a single group of Sasquatch moving around the Grand Mesa area, or do you think it's multiple clans that go through there? It's like a big travel route.
I think it's probably multiple because I've been on different sides of Grand Mesa. And, I don't know many people. I'm basically what you'd call a lone wolf. Me and my dog go out and we don't know many people. And uh, I don't talk to many people about what I've seen or heard because sometimes people tend to kind of look at you sideways. But uh, I just think it's where we live that there's just so much cover for them and so much for them to be able to uh, live as a unit, and I think there's several different families because I see several different kinds of structures, even rock structures in places where there's not, and others, and maybe uh, little structures of branches that someone makes that no one would want to sleep in. You're looking at it thinking, well, who would do something like that?
Yeah. Did you mention earlier that you found a rock up in a tree
No, that was a rock on a stump.
on the stump? Okay.
Yeah, but the stump was below the road on a steep grade where there's never been machinery in there to place the rock there.
Yeah. What kind
Yet
of
you can see it.
what kind of rock is found in the area? Have they found gold? Is there granite? Do you know?
Up here, it's volcanic rock on Grand Mesa. Down by the San Juans, it's uh, I think granite. Yeah,
Okay. How big do you estimate that track was that you came across?
yeah. Well, the one where I took a picture of my foot beside it was the smaller one. I would say, I wear a size 7.5 in hiking boots, and this one looked like a smaller one to me. The one I took a picture of. When I got to the top one, or when I saw the top, there were two sets of tracks, a big one and a smaller one, like they were running beside each other. The tracks came from nowhere and led to nowhere. That's what's weird in this real soft dirt. But my dogs were going nuts in there playing, and I just barely caught both tracks with or on my recorder. I thought I had it on photo part, but anyway, I have proof of both tracks going and then like disappearing, and then a still picture of my hiking boot by the one smaller track.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty good track to me. I was impressed.
Well, it's in an area that's way below Grand Mesa. It's down in the valley, but like I said, we have everything here. There's farming and fruit orchards, lots of water, and lots of cover. I
Yeah.
just don't have anybody to go Sasquatch encountering with here. I
Mm.
wished I did because there's times when it's kind of creepy, if you're out by yourself and
Yeah. Does it ever
even if you
scare
have a
you
gun.
living out on your own way out in the country?
Yeah, especially uh, one time when this is the only time I ever saw something like this, but out in my front yard, yeah, I live a ways out from nobody, but I found these claw marks on the tree that's on a juniper tree, and they're kind of soft, the bark is like a cedar, and they they weren't claws, they were more like finger scrapes going down, four of them, and they were the width of my hand. They weren't anything really big, but they were deep. What would make those type of fingernail marks into a tree that deep, and there weren't claws? That's strange. That scared me.
Yeah, I found similar here in Missouri.
Ooh.
Are there any
Yeah.
caves in the area? Any springs?
Well, caves, I don't think so, but I'm not quite sure because a lot of Grand Mesa's been not even discovered. It's so vast up there. I've heard for years that there's a hidden air or a hidden base, underground base up there, and that's why we see all these UFOs flying around all the time. And a matter of fact, speaking of that, my son and I and a friend were out one evening years ago. It's been about 20 years ago, and we were up on Redlands Mesa. It's not very far from here. We saw these lights, and I remarked to my son and his friend, "Oh, these lights kind of look like the ones in Texas when I was moving us from one ranch to another. How strange." They saw it too, and they said, "Oh, yeah, that is strange looking." And then we didn't remember anything. After that, 8 hours later, we woke up and nobody could remember how we got home.
Yeah, that is strange.
And then years later, my son dies of a rare liver cancer, and he's not a drinker.
Yes.
And I had tumors. I had to get removed. And my friend, he went nuts.
So there's a lot of UFO activity in the same area that you've had Sasquatch activity.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Have you ever heard of
Yeah.
any stories where they've found giants in that area? I know it's all covered up and people say the Smithsonian's hide it, but have you actually found any articles or any information on that?
I haven't seen any information in this area, but there are a few mountains and areas around here in Colorado that look like an Indian laying on their back. Like there's a giant that's laying down and has been now petrified or something. I've heard people talk about giants turning into stone or stones looking like giants, and supposedly they're actually giants and not just stone.
Yeah. So do you think there's a connection with missing people and underground bases? I know you mentioned a lot of the locals think that there's something going on around the area because of all the UFOs they encounter.
I think that there is something going on. I see something nearly every night here. I know you're not supposed to do this, but I have binoculars that have a green laser light. And me and my nephew was out one evening and we saw a UFO in the sky, and we pointed the green laser light at it, and it shot off all this thunder, lightning looking stuff around it, and it scared us pretty bad. We ran in the house. I don't know. There's strange things going on around here. I just don't know how to put my finger on it. There's other people down in the valley in the town called Delta that say they hear these strange underground screeching noises. So, I have watched on the YouTube episode of Phil Schneider, who was a geologist and a civilian contractor for the government to build underground bases, and he ended up getting, they said he died of natural causes, but he said he was going to get murdered like his friend. He even said that there were underground bases that he had actually helped build. And one of them was down under the town of Delta, which is not too far from here.
Yeah, I've been to the Denver airport before, and they say there's an underground base underneath that. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing really around it. Most airports are like embedded within the city, and this is like out in a field, basically.
Oh yeah, yeah. Phil Schneider said he did build a base under the Denver airport, which you know, I mean, it's just craziness around here. And when you get to the airport, you see those stupid paintings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no wonder people think everybody's off their rocker here.
Yeah, there are like New World Order paintings and World War
Yeah,
III prediction paintings, and
yeah,
it didn't
disturbing.
have its place inside of an airport, an area where people take their families and are getting ready to launch into the air, and go really fast.
Yeah, yeah. Did you see the demon looking gargoyle-ish looking thing that sits on a suitcase and talks to everybody when they go by?
Yeah, yeah, it's just an awkward place, and I've heard rumors that they've since took them down, but I don't think that's true. Maybe.
I hope so anyway. I don't care to be in that part of the state anyhow.
Yeah, the west side of Colorado is a lot different than the central east side.
Oh yeah, yeah. You have lots of crime over there on that side and lots of people that come up missing too, and UFOs, especially down in the southern part of Colorado near Alamosa area, the sand dunes part. Lot of mutilations of cattle.
Yeah, that's strange. Where do you think the Sasquatch came from?
Oh, gee. You mean what region here or what planet?
Yeah, their origin. Do you think they evolved through hundreds and thousands of years, or do you think that they're being dropped off by aliens, or what's your theory?
Well, I've heard about orbs and spaceships and being connected with Sasquatch. Uh, to me, all I know is that day when something grunt roared at me, and there's no movement, no sound after that, and it scared me to death, and there's nothing there. Uh, how can you believe that there's such a thing of invisibility when there could be a possibility of it happening and you just aren't wanting to deal with it? But uh, I don't know. It's to me, it's just all a mystery. I guess there's things we're not supposed to know. Maybe we'll find out when we die. I don't know.
I
Right
agree.
now, all I know is if something's there and it's creepy, it's fine with me as long as it doesn't bother me and present itself.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Have you ever seen the Tim Wells Bigfoot encounter video from Colorado?
No, haven't. What's it called again? Tin Wells?
Yeah, his name is Tim Wells, and he's
Oh, Tim Wells.
yeah, he's a professional hunter. He's not like into the Sasquatch community or anything, but he has a video where him and a buddy are elk hunting up in the mountains, and you can hear something tearing through the brush, and all of a sudden you see this hominid creature, jet black, looking at them, and it's kind of peeking around, and as he grabs the camera, this thing hauls butt down the mountain, and you can hear it crashing all the way down the valley, and that's all they got.
Oh,
But
wow.
he never really talked about it. You never see him on any shows. He's never interviewed, and for the longest time on that video the comments were shut off, but I never hear the Bigfoot community, the Sasquatch world, talk about it, and to me that's one of my favorite videos. You need to
Yeah,
look it
I'll
up
check it
sometime.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will when we get off here. I'll check it out. Yeah, this is also interesting. I mean, um, I don't know if they're like a connected with UFOs and there's some kind of like pet project to the aliens. But I have heard of, I think there's been a couple of abductees talk about when they were abducted up inside the spaceship they actually saw one of the Sasquatch with wires hooked up to him too. So I don't know. It just sounds so crazy.
It's hard to say if they took it from here, though, because you see all those videos where the UFO is taking up like a cow from the ranch.
Oh, yeah.
And people, of course, so it's hard to say where it came from.
Yeah, and then, you have places such as the Skinwalker Ranch and the Blind Frog Ranch and Wilson Ranch. They've got so many oddities happening there, with giant dogmen showing up and Bigfoot and orbs and spacecraft and ghosts. It's just nuts. But, they're scientists. I mean, who are we, huh?
Yeah.
They can't even figure out what's going on.
Yeah. If they tell us, if they know anyways. Do you plan on pursuing the Sasquatch, and what's your goal from here?
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for the snow to melt. Up on Grand Mesa, there's about 8-foot drifts on the side. There's just walls of snow, so it'll be a while before I can go up into the mountains up in there. I always take a gun and a knife with me and my big dog, but it's still scary.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might try to hook up with other people to go up with me, but a lot of times people, if they're doing a lot of talking in there with you, you're not going to see anything or hear much,
Yeah, I agree. You kind of have to sneak around and blend into the environment.
Yeah, and I did talk to a lady the other day. I just met her. She's one of my neighbors a ways down. But anyway, I was talking to her about my Bigfoot track. I showed it to her, and she said that she communicates with them. And I know that sounds goofy, but, some of the things she was telling me about were very interesting. And she said she knows where they're coming from. And she wants to go fishing with me this summer. So I'll tap her brain and see what she finds out and get back with you on that too.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. If you come across something, you'll have to let me know.
Yeah, she claims that she knows a family of Sasquatch not too far from here, and that she's had encounters with them, and we had just met too, but she said that when we get together, she'll show me a lot more, and she claims to be able to speak with them. She says, if you're afraid of running into some mean ones, she said a lot of times just before you enter a place, you set in your mind that you're there to enjoy nature and you're not there to disturb or cause any trouble. And whether that's true or not, I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Jane. Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you today, and I'm extremely blessed you decided to reach out to me.
Well, it's been a while now, time going, but we'll stay in touch, and you take care, and I'll send you some gifts, and we'll talk later.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I hope this podcast has helped you, and if you ever experience anything else, just feel free to reach out anytime.
Okay. Thank you, Miguel.
Yeah.
I really love your work. Thank you.
Thank you, and I really appreciate you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. Bye. All right, you guys heard it. Major Bigfoot activity in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. I want to thank Jane for being such an excellent guest, and I really appreciate her willingness to talk about her experiences. If you have encountered a Sasquatch in the Rocky Mountains, please contact me. I would love to hear your story and possibly have you as a guest on the show. If you want to support the channel, I will leave links in the description below, and I really appreciate everyone's help. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you all have an excellent day. Take care, And until the next one.